Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello!
Yeah, today we're doing another Smash Pass, but not the After Dark Smash Pass. A fantasy booking of a Smash Brothers, Season Pass. But before we get too far into that, let's go with the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense, asinine hypotheticals. And what have you got for me today?
My question is a bit out there, and for that, I apologise.
Okie dokie.
You're sitting at home, Rick, all alone, because your parents are out or whatever, and there's a knock on the door. You open the door and you find a perfect replica/clone of yourself. However, they tell you that they are in fact the real you. What do you do?
We'd probably fight to the death.
Do you think you'd win?
Don't know, don't care. One of us gets to die, and that's the best thing.
But what if you fight and you get mortally wounded while defeating your doppelganger?
Well, then both of us win.
That's a take, but okay, fair enough. I suppose I can't argue much with that. I'm just,
How do you deal with your clone?
I don't know, man. It's one of those where I would like to try and work with it. However, I think realistically, you're going to have to be prepared to kill someone who looks exactly like you. Like, you're just going to have to. Like, unless you are such a pure... I know I'm not the purest, most innocent being in the world. I like to think I'm pretty decent, but I know I'm not the best. And I don't know... Because, again, this entity is claiming that they're the original, they're the real you. So it's one of those where it's like, if I thought I was the real me, and I thought a clone was overtaking my world, I'd probably want to kill it. So I'd have to be prepared.
Yeah. Well, mine's a case of, I've always wanted to beat the shit out of myself, and being able to do that to someone else would be great. So...
I don't think that's something you want to reveal to the world, Rick.
I mean, doesn't everyone?
No, I don't. I quite like me.
Weirdo.
Okay, sure. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think I'm the best human in the world or anything, but I don't hate myself. I don't want myself to come to physical harm. I don't look in the mirror and go, I fucking hate you. Do you look in the mirror and go, I fucking hate you?
Why do you think I have a dark mirror in my room?
I don't fucking know, man. Like, sometimes lighting just be like that, man. You gotta love yourself a little bit.
I've made it this far without that, so there we go.
You should consider therapy. Have you got a question for me, Rick?
My one was just from all of the Smash Brothers. Well, it's not really a fighting game so much as it's a party game. What character would you least like to see in another party game, like a Mario Party or a Olympic Games party game?
Kazuya.
Who?
Kazuya Mishima.
Oh, Kazuya. Okay, yeah, because he would just kill people.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is like he doesn't really fit in a party game. He fits in Smash Bros because it's a fighting game. Like, and it's a very lenient and casual fighting game, but it is a fighting game. Sakurai went into it trying to make a fighting game that was fair for all skill levels. Like, realistically, you got the nut jobs who are super good, as you got in any fighting game community. But if you put on all the bullshit, it really levels the playing field.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like, it's one of those where it's a fighting game that you can turn into anyone's got a chance. Because if you've got, like, 5 Pokeballs on the battlefield, it's fucking bedlam at the best times.
Yeah. Like, Pokeballs only is actually one of my favourite ways to play back in the day.
Well, that's totally fair. But no, you got the crazies who are like, no, final destinations, no items, Foco only. Some bollocks.
Yeah, Fox only, final destinations, no items, go. And then some people pick Falco just to be a counter pick because he's slightly different to Fox, and it throws some people off.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think that's a pretty fun question, actually. So, who do you pick?
Mine is for a similar reason. It's, I don't know. I'm picking Sephiroth, but then again, I think it would be pretty funny to see him, like, jammed into a go-kart the way that Link does with his knees poking out.
Here's the thing is, I think Sephiroth could work. You just have to take pre-fucking crazy Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Whereas
because after post-crazy Sephiroth, it's just, he would not agree to do anything fun.
Absolutely not. Like, you got to bear in mind, Sephiroth is from FF7, a game where at the end of Disc 1, and I'm talking about OG FF7, you go from Hojo being the Nazi scientist that he is, trying to make Rev 13 and Aerith fuck, to 5 minutes later where you see him just sunbathing in Costa del Sol.
Yeah, flanked by 2 scientists in bikinis.
Yeah, like, the game doesn't take itself seriously, and I think that's one of the reasons why people loved it.
Yeah. Like, it was very easy to just ignore that part and just think the rest rest of it was grimdark, but nah, there were silly bits as well.
Like, this is the same character who did awful, vile shit to both Vincent and Lucrezia.
Yeah.
But here he is, just in his Speedos, fucking sunbathing.
Yeah.
Just saying, like, it's a very silly game. At least in the ending, don't get me wrong, it takes itself super seriously once you get to, like, halfway through Disc 2, but it's got some nonsense.
Yeah. Like, not least of all the frickin' murder house enemies. Is it like the Angstrom or something?
That came back in FF9 as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as intimidating.
Oh, yeah, like... Because the first time you fight it in FF7, it's the first time you've ever seen one of these animated. 'Cause before that, everything was sprites. And I think this is the most memorable and unsettling monster in FF7 particularly, and possibly most of FF in general.
You know what? I'm sure there's worse. It's just, I don't want to mentally think of every single monster and pick what's more fucked up. Like, outside of boss monsters, I think you might be correct.
Yeah. In terms of normal monsters. Like, it's treated as a boss in the remake, I believe, just because it's that iconic, but yeah. Anyway, let's go a little bit into things. So, who's going to be your first pick? We're going to pick 5 fighters, because that's what the DLCs have. Who's your first pick this time?
We'll get into that in 1 second. Just some ground rules, just for those of you, in case this is your first one of these videos you've watched. We're using the Sakurai system of, of course we are, because it's this fucking game, of every character has to have debuted in a video game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no Goku. And this time around, actually, we do have a twist on it. These are things from series that are already represented in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, which is funny, because last video we also did that, and I forgot that was a caveat for the last video. But yeah. Pick number 1. I don't know how I'm going to make this work in the sense of making it a bit more unique than just the generic Pokemon trainer, but I think we need an update. So for that reason, I'm giving it to Nemona from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I like Nemona. She's good. She's a great rival because she's so bullshit strong that she's choosing to do New Game Plus alongside you and is still one of the most threatening trainers out there.
Yeah, she's fun. Like, I think this is the first time they've done the rival character that's actually been interesting, and I think part of that might be because she is quite clearly autistic as fuck towards Pokemon battles.
Yeah.
Because it's just so infectious. Every time she wants to battle, it's just like, yeah, I do want to fight you. Which sounds fucked up, but you know.
Yeah. Fight? No fight. Fight? No fight.
I think I just don't know how to make this more unique than just having her be, again, sort of a reskin of Pokemon trainer, you know what I mean? Because the unfortunate reality is, I think the reason why they don't include more Pokemon trainers is because it would just be Pokemon trainer again, but with different Evos. I think we could make it a bit different, as in have like her 3 signature Pokemon that aren't the starters, so have Lycanroc, I've forgotten the name of the fucking Pikachu knockoff for Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, Polmalt, yeah.
Yeah, have that, because obviously that's the first thing she catches to fight you with, and I don't want to use one of the starters. I've forgotten what the dragon type she uses is. Milotic. She has a Milotic, so put that in.
Yeah, she uses that. One thing that she doesn't fight you with, but she definitely has, is the local Tauros as well, because she shows that you get to see her using that in the opening cinematic.
Well, there you go. You could even change it then and just have her not cycle through Pokemon, and instead have her just riding the Tauros, and have the Tauros be the attacking type. Again, it's still just using a Pokemon, but your hands are kind of tied when it comes to using Pokemon characters.
Yeah, I think she's got a Clefairy in her house as well.
Oh, fucking whoopee-doo, Clefairy sucks.
Yeah, the only time Clefairy is interesting is when it's that meme-face Clefairy from that original manga.
I guess. But yeah, I think Nemona would be fun. It would let you use the campus from Scarlet Violet as the stage, and you get an excuse to just jam-pack a bunch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet music in. Like, even if you don't like newer Pokemon games, and I'm not going to shit on you for being someone like that, like, it's fine. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug, I get it. The music has always been top tier for Pokemon.
Yeah, and it really helps in Scarlet and Violet that they got Toby Fox, and you could really see his DNA in the music theory. Like, a lot of things are tied together really well with leitmotifs, which is what he likes to do. It's a way that you turn being lazy as a composer into a signature. You come up with some good riffs, and those are what prop up throughout most of the tracks that are related.
Did he do a lot of music for Scarlet and Violet? Because he only did one song for, like, Shield and Sword.
Oh, he did the two main things that get remixed into different things. Like the main theme, the that bit was one of his. So that's like the Mezagoza and just driving around theme for the most part. And then he did the Terror Dens, which also became the final boss theme.
I didn't like the Terror Den music, but I don't.
Did you not? Okay.
But I don't know how much of that was affected by the fact that I really fucking hate terror battles.
Oh yeah, and the fact that you have to do a fucking 100 of them to get certain things.
Like, so not to shit on Toby Fox, honestly, it's just I don't know how much of that is me not liking the music or me having to listen to it when I'm in hell. So and her costumes would just be the costumes she uses throughout the game.
Yeah, just because already you've got the Scarlet and Violet versions of the main school costume.
Yeah, just give her a couple of extra ones for funsies.
Yeah. I like that. I like that one. Yeah.
Who's your first entry into this new Fantasy Smash DLC?
Well, I'm just shuffling things around a bit just to reply to this directly. I'm going with I've written it down on my note as Agias. And if you've played the Scarlet and Violet DLC, that's what one of the characters calls your Koraidon/Miraidon, because that's the noise that it makes. And backporting that from Pokemon speak, that means that that's its name.
Okay, so Koraidon/Miraidon is what you want to put in.
Yeah, Miraidon and Koraidon, they are so similar in what they do that they would just be palette swaps of each other as in costumes of each other. Yeah. And it just changes the particle effects of whether it's, is it fighting aura or is it electric aura.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the only thing you'd have to change is its signature attack, really. And even then, it's just changing the colour of the beam.
Yeah, exactly. So these already have multiple different, like, micro forms, like the flying form for, well, I think that'll work pretty well just in general.
Piss off. Well, you know what I mean. A form. It sprouts wings and that's all it does. Like,
I know, right? So in the game data, it's classed as a form.
It's wrong.
I know, right? But, like, riding form is classed as a different form to walking around, for instance, as well.
That one I can give a pass to. I get why they make the distinction between that. But riding form and flying form is literally, it has wings now. It's not a change. And it can't... The
one that you're really going to hate is swimming form is different as well.
Yeah, it just gives it... fuck off.
It paddles instead of walking. And that's only for the for Koraidon as well. Miraidon just, like, drives in the water. But yeah, like, I think the different mini forms that it has are pretty evocative of things that you do, like having to recover when you're jumping. Going fast is something that you do in Smash Brothers quite a lot, dashing.
Yeah.
And I just think it'll be fun to have things like this that are not just human with sword.
Well, here's the thing, Rick, is it keeps bothering me. It bothers me a lot whenever, and you know this because I've yelled about it on the podcast about 5 times. It bothers me a lot when people go, "Oh, I'm tired of human with sword," and yet everyone flips their shit when Sephiroth gets announced. No, you're not tired of human with sword. You're tired of Fire Emblem characters, and that's fine. But just fucking say it. Like, Fire Emblem doesn't even have that many characters. I'm pretty sure it has slightly less than Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, fucking piss off, you fucking whiny little piss baby. Not you, the internet I'm talking to now. You know who you are.
Yeah, totally. And for a stage, you've already given us Mesa Gosa. I'm going to go with Area Zero because I think it's like the most visually impressive area in Pokemon to date.
I would agree with you if it didn't. It's a problem with the game, and the Switch can't handle the game because the game, I can see what they were going for, and it looks impressive to a degree, except that area completely shits the bed every time it loads.
Oh yeah, freeze frames look good. In motion, it looks awful.
Oh yeah, everything just staggering and frame rate drops, and I'm not a frame rate nerd. I can live with it, but even I'm like, oh, that's terrible. You need to fix that, Nintendo.
Yeah, and I think a non-zero part of it is things just spawning outside the map that they're devoting resources to.
Game Freak, I get it. It's the first time they tried something on this scale, but oh fuck me, just hire someone who knows what they're doing. Like, there's plenty of people who can do this shit. Like, fuck me.
Yeah, and they even did it better in the game before, where they, split the open world up into chunks and just had curated maps.
I was going to say, I also assume that game was smaller in general, landmass wise.
Probably not by much though, but yeah.
But because it was islands, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
by default, it's going to be less,
Yeah, less demanding because you can just have a finite area loaded rather than having to call the entire map every time, yeah. But yes, that's my number 5. Who's going to be your number 4?
My number 4 is, we've mentioned him already, sort of. It's going to be Jin Kazama from Tekken.
Okay.
This was a really hard choice for me, because I'm just looking through the list of Tekken characters while I was thinking, because I was like, Tekken, I want another Tekken guy in the game. And I'm sure some Tekken fans will be like, oh, another Kazama, but, like, for fuck's sake, they're the iconic family.
Yeah, and, well, what are your other choices? Kuma, Yoshimitsu?
I mean, honestly, for a second, I was thinking of putting Hwoarang in, but then I was like, it doesn't make sense to have Hwoarang in without Jin.
Sure.
And, like, you could put in one of the Williams, but even they can't... They're such nothing characters, because they're just assassins that want to kill each other. Yeah, they're sisters, and yeah, this and that, but again, there's a lot of reliance on having another character already in the game to have them be interesting.
Yeah, it feels like they ping off each other a lot more than the rest of the world. Because wasn't there a Nina Williams spin-off game as well, where you, like, zoomed in on people's spines breaking?
You keep saying this, but it wasn't really that graphic. And it wasn't a fighting game, it was like a fucking beat-em-up, so it's like, it can fuck off.
Yeah, but, like, prime spin-off material for that kind of era.
Yeah, I suppose. I believe it was also on a portable system, so I never played it.
Okay.
I think it was on the Vita, so it was doomed. But yeah, Jin Kazama. Jin has always been the good guy Kazama, until Tekken 6, where they made him a genocidal maniac, and it was like, oh, that's lame. But, like, they've already got the framework in the game for doing Jin, because Kazuya's in the game, and they both have the same gimmick. They both have the Mishima fighting style. Jin's is a bit more mixed up, because he throws in some Kazama moveset from his mother's side of the family.
Yeah, and would you have put any Devil Jin in there?
Well, that's why I mentioned Kazuya, because, again, they already have the transformation. Just bang that in. Devil Jin's is a bit more interesting visually than Kazuya's, because Kazuya goes full purple devil, whereas Jin's weird because his mother was an angel, but maybe not, depending on what games you played. So when he goes full devil form, he gets these gnarly tattoos on his chest, and he gets 2 black wings. He grows the horns and gets a tattoo on his head, so he can also do the laser beam shit, but he doesn't get the third eye. So his stage would just be fucking pick a stage from... I'd make it Moonlight Gardens from fucking Tekken 4, because that game's beautiful.
Sure.
And I'd put in basically a bunch of Tekken 4 music, because the stage music on that was top tier. The spirit board is just built in. There's so many Tekken characters you can choose. You could even pick that fucking stupid scientist that has 1 HP.
Oh, yeah.
Only exists for the bowling minigame. By the way, Tekken had a bowling minigame, and that was the best.
Oh boy.
It was really funny, because if you overcharged the meter and didn't let go properly, your character doesn't let go of the ball, and you just throw yourself over the line, and it's obviously a foul, but it's so funny.
Yeah. Oh man. Bowling minigames. Oh shit. There was they released Elf Bowling on the 3DS.
Elf Bowling?
Yeah, a Flash game where you, like, Santa goes bowling for elves because they're trying to unionize.
Oh, that sounds like Newgrounds of shit.
Oh, yeah, and they released it as an actual cartridge.
I mean, fair enough, if you can get away with it, why not? Can't imagine it made its money back.
Yeah, and Elf Bowling 2 was just shuffleboard. And the worst thing is you could just go and play the Flash version for free.
It's a novelty. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, Tekken feels like... taking a fighting game character feels almost cheating, because, again, you just got so much to draw from already. That being said, who's your number 4? Or number 2? How are we numbering this?
Well, I'm going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but so my number 4 is going to be Crystal from Star Fox.
Oh yes, the furry bait from Rare.
Yeah, so if Renamon is yellow furry bait, Crystal is blue furry bait. This is blue furry bait before Lucario.
Crystal is this weird thing where I've never played a Star Fox game. They've never interested me, but I've seen this character. A lot, and they are very pink inside.
Oh boy. In her debut game, she has a staff, which is magic, and you get to play with it in the opening until, she gets turned into Crystal. And Fox gets the staff instead. So, like, most of the moveset will be from what Fox is able to do in that game, like jump and slam or shoot bolts from it. I think it even does like a little flamethrower thing that's like magic ice or whatever.
I might be wrong, Rick, but I distinctly remember reading an interview with a chap from Rare who literally said they tried to make the sexiest character possible while staying under Nintendo's fury. Because obviously Nintendo was not... Nowadays, Nintendo's like, we don't care if it's an erotic game as long as you mark it as such on our eStore.
Yeah.
But back in the day...
Make it a 13 or a 17, yeah.
Back in the day, they were really fucking... Nudity, no. Homosexuality, no. Drugs, no. Even alcohol, definitely not alcohol.
Well, alcohol and stand-ins for drugs were okay.
Yeah, but not the actual stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, like, touch fuzzy, get dizzy was a stand-in for drugs in Yoshi.
Okay, I never played Yoshi. I can't say.
But yeah, I remember really early on in the Smash Brothers Brawl release cycle, her voice actress broke an NDA and told people that she had done lines for Smash Brothers Brawl, and people were like, "Oh my god, Crystal's going to be in Brawl," and turns out no, she was just a very small voice role of essentially the equivalent of an assist trophy.
Sure.
But even less than that, because it was just an audio codec for when you're playing a snake.
Oh, okay, that super makes sense, but that's dumb.
But yeah, I think it's time to finally get her in, and we're not doing stages for all of them, but I would make her stage the dinosaur village from Dinosaur Planet.
I mean, you're saying we're not... like, stages come with characters. I think if you can think of a stage, you should include one.
Yeah. So that's going to be what she gets. And yeah, so who's going to be your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be Dr. Entropy from Crash.
Ah, yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so Crash isn't in the game, but I put him in the game back in my first pick, so that's why Entropy comes in under this rule. Now, why Entropy and not Neocortex? Because I think Neocortex kind of sucks. And and I got to be honest with you, they've kind of character assassinated Cortex since Tropy became a thing. Cortex has stopped being a super genius and is now kind of like a bumbling oaf of a genius. Like, yeah, he's smart enough to do all this shit, but he's also an idiot.
Yeah, like 99 int 0 whiz.
It fucking sucks, man. Like, they tried to... They made him quite cunning in the first game, and then they've just dumbed him down with every other game. And with Crash 4, they super went, nah, Cortex ain't shit, Tropy's the real baddie. So yeah, Entropy... His big gimmick is he fucks with time. I will obviously make the stage the warp room for Crash 3 and just have the different timeline speed of backgrounds. It could just warp in and out using that certain effect. If you played Crash 3, you'll know exactly what effect I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know what I do for moveset because he's got this sort of staff that's like a... I don't know what you'd call it. It's metal, it's got 2 prongs. It's the sort of thing that you used to use on old clocks.
What's it, like a tuning fork?
Tuning fork, that's exactly what it is.
Sure.
And he'd slam that on the ground and it caused... this is his boss fight from 3, by the way. 4 is a bit more shitty because he just sort of affects the environment. But in 3, he slams it on the ground, it makes waves, you have to dodge. So yeah, he'd have a lot of attacks just based on swinging this giant tuning fork. He'd have these projectiles. I think for his final smash, you could probably do something fun where he sends you back in time and it just auto KOs. But it's got to be hard to hit.
Sure, yeah. Well, most final smashes are KOs anyway.
Yeah, but like the ones that are... you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
there are some that
like
are really
Link.
hard to hit.
Like Link, if you don't hit, then it just whiffs. But if you do hit, then it probably kills. And it's actually pretty difficult to hit because you know it's coming, and you know that if you're in front of it when they press B, then you're dead.
Yeah, there's no worse feeling than when you're in a Smash game and you get a final smash because everyone knows you got the final smash, so they all run away.
Yeah.
But yeah. Music, yeah, I'd use the Crash Bandicoot 3 soundtrack. Like, nothing against the 4 one, it's just 3's got better tracks in my opinion.
Sure.
And yeah, I think that about does it. So who gets your next pick, Rick?
My next pick, you probably knew it was coming. It's going to be Dr. Robotnik.
You've already done Dr. Robotnik.
Did I?
Yeah, you put him in as Eggman, but it's the same character.
Okay. Waluigi.
I did Waluigi.
Did you do Waluigi?
Yeah, this was the same episode, in fact. Rick, I went through every one of our Smash videos and pulled out the list, and I was like, should I share this with Rick? And I'm like, nah, he'll remember who he did. But no, Eggman and Waluigi have both been entered before.
Edelgard.
Okay, sure. She hasn't been in a game, but she kind of is in the game with Byleth, but whatever.
Yeah, so her axe is one that Byleth uses. So I would have her as a heavy character, going off her Emperor Edelgard garb. Basically playing a lot like Hector would.
Who's another character we added as well.
Yeah, but being Edelgard. And I think she would be a fun take on the same kind of feel.
I think the first thing you can do with Edelgard to distinct her from Hector is the fact that they make it a point in the game that she has got an underlying skill in magic, and if you pump it up a little bit, she gets some cool magic bullshit. So just have her be big fuck off Axeman with a bit of magic.
Yeah, she's got the fire magic, and the final smash would be a form change into Hegemon Edelgard.
Ah, yes, the Sephiroth school of doing things.
Yeah, well, it's Giga Bowser as well, but yeah.
But
turn into your super form.
Because her form is more eldritch, I associate it with Sephiroth. That's what all that is.
Sure.
That being said, I think you definitely have to have at least one or two of her alt costumes just be that Flame Emperor armor, because it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Flame Empress armor, and she's got a fair few cool costumes actually. Like, I'm actually still rather partial to the basic Garrigmark uniform as well, but that's just what she shows up as a background character on the Garrigmark stage.
Yeah, but that
this
takes
is
one slot.
Oh, yeah. This is a character where I didn't really think there was anywhere in Three Houses that's iconic enough to make into a stage that's not Garrigmark.
Yeah, and that's already in the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because that's already there. I guess you could go to Shambhala, but she doesn't.
But it's one of those real interesting things where Fire Emblem Engage got a lot of flack for the fact that the story wasn't as good as Three Houses, and it wasn't. You can't really, it's hard to compare the two, because Three Houses' story was just so finely crafted. A lot of people just didn't like it because you had to play it like 4 times. But on the flip side, there is nothing iconic about the maps in Fire Emblem Three Houses. They are very cut and dry. There's very few gimmick fights. Everything's just beat everyone else. Whereas compare that to Engage, and all of the maps are interesting. The DLC maps can fuck off and die in a fire, but they are interesting.
Yeah, like what can you think of from Three Houses? Like the underground map where you've got to avoid the Death Knight and get the crest weapons, and that's it. Like and the Battle of Gronda Field. Yeah, but that's just a field.
Yeah, like it's an interesting fight because there's 3 factions, but that's not unique in Fire Emblem. That's happened loads of times.
Yeah. But yes, Edelgard is my pick for that. How about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be another character based entirely off of one of the franchises we added to Nintendo Smash.
Okay.
Thankfully, this game came out, so I can confidently put them in. It's Minonoi from Hades 2.
Ah, sweet. Yeah.
So, back in our very first video where we did a Fantasy Smash DLC roster, I added in Zagreus because it just makes sense, and Minonoi takes up that mantle perfectly. They changed her up to make her different from Zag. She's very much a caster, so she's going to focus on magic, but equally she can have the exact same gimmick of Byleth and, by extension, Zagreus, of just switching weapons on the fly. Each attack could be a different weapon, and her final smash, she can actually have a final smash, because in Hades 2 they introduce Selune, the moon goddess, who just gives you an ultimate ability. It's what you get instead of the fuck off ultimate boon from the gods in Hades 1. And she could just use her mega fuck off Moonblast.
Sweet. Yeah. I like this. Like, having more casters, I think, is always a good thing in party games like this, because it lets someone interact with another fight. Which is it's important when you've got multiplayer like 3 or 4 players.
Yeah. Fuck me, there's nothing worse than playing Little Mac against 2 other people.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do counters. I'm sure some people are going, "Oh, you're a scrub if you can't handle that," and it's like, yeah, I don't play Smash Bros competitively. I play it with my friends. But yeah, her stage I'd probably make it the Crossroads, which is the hub area of Hades 2, because you could have some interesting cameos from characters in the background, or just have Sleeping Hypnos, which is still the funniest part of that game to me so far.
Yeah.
Like, everybody who knows Hypnos is just like not weirded out, but like just kind of has a little bit of a joke at Menonoi's expense, because Menonoi is like, "Oh, Hypnos will help us as soon as he wakes up," and everyone's like, "Trust me, he is more helpful by being asleep."
Yeah, like even there's something like unsettling about him as well. But oh well.
Unsettling?
Yeah, when you speak to him in Hades 1, there's something unsettling about the way that he just like is. I don't know.
I think that's meant to be intentional because they really play up the fact that Sleep is Death's brother.
Yeah.
In the literal and figurative sense, like he is Thanatos' brother because he's Hypnos, but also like I believe it was in fact a Greek proverb, which would make sense. Which is just like when you go to sleep, you're basically dying for 8 hours. You're basically dead.
Yeah.
Which is don't ignore that fact if you're an anxious person because that fucked with me a lot the first time I heard that.
Yeah. Sleep is training wheels for death.
Oh God, no. But anyway, yeah, Melanoi's great. Bang in all of the music. I don't care. It's all great. I think there's not much else to say. I think an automatic assist trophy would be Nemesis.
Yeah.
Because she already just fucking helps out Melanoi anyway, but she does it in a really fucking bastard way. But I'll save that as a spoiler for you for Hades 2 when you eventually get to it. Rick, who is your penultimate edition?
My number 2, I had to scramble, and I'm going to have to break the theme and introduce someone new. I'm giving us Boggy B.
Who the fuck? What?
Now, who the fuck is Boggy B? Boggy B is the default worm from Worms. So I would have a worm that goes around and uses things like the sheep, the bazooka, grenade, banana bombs. Yeah, baseball bat, banana bombs.
Yeah, you can't make. The problem is you can't make his kit be entirely ranged. That being said, the up special would have to be fucking the
ninja rope. Yeah.
No, not the ninja rope. The fucking the Shoryuken.
Jetpack. Oh, Shoryuken. Yeah. Yeah, because he's got Hadoken, and it's even called Hadoken.
Yeah, except it's Hadoken shit, 'cause it only goes about 2 feet.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine because that's balanced. because he's not Ryu. Like, I think it's got legs as a concept for something like that.
What does ult be?
Probably similar to Snake. Actually, no, they got the Armageddon thing where you can make the entire stage sink a bit.
No, I think it should be Concrete Donkey.
Yeah, Concrete Donkey. Yep, the Holy Concrete Donkey. Yep, I like that.
So it would take some skill to aim, but you hit someone with it, they're fucked.
Yep. I remember seeing that in a video game magazine when Worms 2 was new and thinking, that can't be real. And then it turns out, oh yeah, it actually is.
This is a game.
It's just like super rare.
This is a game which also had the granny bomb as a weapon.
Oh yeah, it came before the sequel where the granny had a bad curry and was farting as well.
Worms was definitely made by British developers to begin with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
in fact, I think it was made by people from Wakefield.
I'm just saying, like, I'm listening to this style of humour, and I'm like, this sounds British as fuck, but I can't confirm.
Yeah, so Wakefield is at the opposite corner of the Rhubarb Triangle to where I live.
Rick, I know where Wakefield is.
Yeah, but still, yeah, the Rhubarb Triangle. And as for a stage, like, I think the most iconic Worms stage is probably where they're on the cartoon version of the Statue of Liberty.
That's fair. I can only think of generic Worm stages, so I certainly won't argue.
But yeah, who's going to be your final pick?
My final pick is going to be based off of a franchise that you introduced into the Super Smash Bros. Roster by your first... Again, harken back to the very first episode, where you introduced one Solaire of Astora.
I did.
I'm going to introduce Sister Freed.
Ah, sweet. Yeah, okay, I get you.
I really wanted to put in I've forgotten her name.
Oh, Lady Maria.
Yeah, I really wanted to put in Lady Maria, but I was like, Bloodborne isn't Dark Souls. But Sister Freed is basically Lady Maria, but on steroids.
yeah, pretty much. Although that said, Cathedral Ward is in the game of Dark Souls 1, so...
No, it's not.
It's in the game data, you just can't play in it.
Okay, it's not in the game then. It's one of those where I think since Lady Maria is the ultimate for thematic fight, but if you want to go for just hardcore brick in the fucking face... Yeah,
Scythe, yeah.
Sister Freed is annoying just based on the fact she has 3 fucking phases.
True, absolutely.
I would obviously have her cathedral be the backdrop for the stage. Her boss theme music would be the theme music music stage. This also just gives us an excuse to just go, hey, let's take all the best fighting boss tracks from Dark Souls 3 and add it into Ninty Smash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she'd have a lot of attacks that involve her scythe. I think she'd have a meter a bit like pick any of the mages, that when you fill it up, that's when she pulls out her second one and gets the glowing magic effect, and it just makes her damage a bit more, because that's all her moveset evolves into. It's the same moveset, it's just she swings twice.
Yeah.
And obviously she'd have access to magic. I don't think I'd let her go invisible, because that would be too much of a pain in the ass for everybody. And yes, I say that even knowing Sora has like basically infinite fucking glide.
Well, and also the fact that there is just an invisibility pick, invisibility item.
Yeah, I just don't think it would be good. I don't think it would be very fair to have a character just be able to do it at will.
Sure.
Like, if a character picks up an item, that's fair, because everybody had a chance of getting that item.
Sure, yeah, I get you.
And it's a bit like how, like, King K. Rool having his crown it basically acts like an item is fine, because if he doesn't pick that up, someone else can use it.
Yeah, I get you.
Her ultimate would probably be... Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. Maybe just fucking... You get to summon fucking Ariandel, the guy.
Yeah, Father Ariandel, yeah.
Just have him be like a pig Ganondorf and do a fucking sweep of the stage.
Yeah, he comes along by and smashes his tub of soup along down you, and then leaves.
Yeah, screaming all the while and terrifying small children. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent pick. Of course I do. Who's going to be your final pick, Rick? Which I assume you're also going to have to scramble for.
Yeah, I said it earlier, didn't I? Mumbo Jumbo was one that I was going to put in, but apparently I've already done this one.
I never said you did Mumbo Jumbo.
Have I not done Mumbo Jumbo? Okay, well, I'm putting in Mumbo Jumbo. Ekom Bokum himself. I'm making his stage the Mayahem Temple, which is it's specifically more his stage than the first stage that you fight him on. Well, not fight him on. That you find him on in the first game, because he performs the backing track to the music.
Oh, fair enough. I know nothing about this character. I know he's an antagonist in Banjo-Kazooie, and I know...
he's not even an antagonist. He's a stage power-up guy, and he's even more of a friend come Banjo-Tooie.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, see, I know fuck all. I also know he goes Ekom Bokum because Korone is adorable.
Yes. So you bring him tokens, and he turns you into things, usually. So a lot of his moveset would be around just doing basic magic stuff, telekinesis and all that, and his ultimate would be to turn you into something crap. Something like he uses a toilet at one point, washing machine, centipede.
Like, I think that would be cool. The only problem is like, boy, is that underwhelming as a final smash, because a lot of them are just, they give you an instant KO.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where, there's probably going to be a more underpowered character, which I think it's not a bad thing. Like, you don't have to have everything super over the top and automatic win button.
On the flip side, Rick, I subscribe to the Ed Boon theory of doing things, which is, what's the best arcade cabinet? The one that's the loudest.
Yeah, true.
And that's why Mortal Kombat was always so fucking loud, guys.
So from my picks, which one do you like the best?
That sums it up pretty well, I think. I don't know, man. I think I like the idea of... I'd like the idea more of Koraidon and Miraidon if I didn't already have the Mona in. So I think I'm going to have to give it to Ekom Bokum.
Yeah, fair enough. Good old Mumbo Jumbo, Ekom Bokum.
Like, I don't even remember his name, because all I think of is Ekom Bokum and Korone being adorable.
Ekom Bokum, yep.
What about you? From my picks, which strictly adhered to the rules...
Yeah, I'm going to go with Melanor because, I liked Zagreus as a pick, and I think that she would also fit really well into Smash. It was maybe going to be Memona until you said Melanor, but yeah, she's going to be my pick.
Yeah, fair enough. I like the idea of Nemona. I just don't know how you'd implement her in a unique way. Like, I think we kind of clutched at something with the Tauros, but
Yeah.
Like, we gotta try,
because that would be different. Like, at least she'd be around and we'll be able to send it out a little bit similar to Ice Climbers. How you've got two characters in one.
I fucking hate Ice Climbers, though.
Yeah, fair enough. But like the idea behind it being like she's the vulnerable one and the other one is the powerful one.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's just the brunt of it. It will take someone a bit more creative than I to think of a creative way to introduce Pokemon characters outside of just having Pokemon be Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, fucking Sakurai can't do it. Give me some slack.
If he could, he would have done.
That's just it, man. Sakurai's good at what he does. So I feel like if Sakurai can't do something, then I don't have to be too hard on myself for also not being able to do it.
Yeah.
And that is a compliment. Fuck everyone who says it isn't.
And also, that's why we haven't made a game. But yes, I think that's about enough from us today. If you like the video, you've got the comment section down below on YouTube, and if you're listening via one of the audio platforms instead, you can instead send an email to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. That's right, we want suggestions for future episodes, but more importantly than that, we want to hear who would you add to Nintendo Smash, because I'm genuinely curious as to what ideas other people have, because honestly, Rick and I have gotten to the stage where we're both predictable.
And tell us why we're wrong as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'll fight over Menonoi.
But yeah, see you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.